Hello everyone, so this time I would like to share a video on how to fine-tune tunnels for boning and wire. So these details you can find in bras and corsets, and often in 3D they tend to look a little bit flat because we can't really put any wires or plastic boning inside those tunnels, so it needs some fine-tuning to really create that true-to-life tunnel look. This is of course only for visualization purpose. If you create garments for physical production, perhaps this is not the tip that you should be using. However, I think if you like to visualize bra designs or corset designs, I think it's a very nice detail to work on, and it really gives you like a very nice pop. So you will see later. Okay, so here I have just a very simple bra, and I have the tunnel created just with one pattern piece. And here is just one small part for boning, just to show you how it would work. And for these two pattern pieces I use a very stiff fabric, and this is the type of fabric that I use for things that I want to keep shape, like this underwire tunnel part and also this part. So as you can see, very high bend values, that means it doesn't bend, and very high stretch values, that means it doesn't stretch. And in addition, this underwire tunnel pattern piece is also attached to avatar tape that goes here. So that's just to let you know why it doesn't really move around. Okay, so let's start. First, I will add the two internal lines where the stitches will go. So for the tunnel, we usually have these two stitches on the sides that sew those tunnels together. So I will offset as internal line, and I will do 1.5 millimeter stitch from each side. And then at this point I will just remove linked editing so that you can at the end see the difference between this fine-tuned version, and then I will just create two layers here without any fine-tuning. Okay, then the next step will be to layer clone over. Okay, and I can simulate. I will switch off these 3D lines. Okay, and now let's start the fine-tuning process. So first of all, of course, we want this part to be a little bit puffy like this, so that it reflects that there's something inside. So how to do that? In this case, I will use pressure. So the bottom layer I will put -40, and then the top layer 40. You can go as high as 70, I think that's the highest value, but I will start with 40 so you can see the difference. Okay, and if I start the simulation, as you can see, nothing is really happening. It's just because the fabric is too stiff, so the pressure can't really push these two patterns away from each other because the fabric doesn't allow any stretch or bend, so there's no space that can be created here. So we have to adjust the physical property of the top layer. And I will just copy this tunnel pattern and then put it on the top layer. I put it only on top layer because if I add it on bottom layer, the tunnel will not be stiff. So it's very important to have this bottom layer stiff. Otherwise, if both of them are this fabric, it will become very wobbly and not good looking. Well, you can try later on and see how that looks. And then from the top layer, I did several tests, and then I came to these values. So this combination of values are the values that gave the best result in my opinion, but of course you can play around with them. And as I have changed these values, you can see a little bit of puff is happening, but not very significant. So it's very important for this fine detail to lower particle distance, and in this case I will put it on 2. And as you can see, once I do that, you can already see some puffing up is happening. So finally the pressure is doing its work. Okay, so this result is good already. So if it is good enough for you, you can of course keep it, but I will show you how to go even a little bit further than this. So first of all, I usually put particle distance on 1 as well, because my computer can handle it quite well, and this is just a small piece of fabric, so it's totally fine. And as you can see, the surface is much smoother. And I also like to change mesh type to quad, just because sometimes with triangles they freak out a little bit and they stick out, so the quads give much smoother look, in my opinion. Okay, so this looks pretty good already. And then you can see how the pressure could affect the look. So if we go the highest value, minus 70 and 70, you can get a little bit more puff. You can also adjust physical properties, go a little bit lower with the stretch value. That should give a little bit more puff too. But from my experience, if the values are too crazy, for example, your stretches are on 5 or 2 and your bendings are on 60 or higher, the fabrics tend to freak out, so just be mindful of that. In general, I would say 10 and 40 works the best, and I had no errors so far with these values. Okay, so if you want a little bit more dimension here for these lines where the stitches are, we can add some fold angle. So for example, fold angle 240, and that will help to lift up this puffy part in the middle, like that. And then if you also want some more dimension to the side, you can try to add internal line here in the middle between the stitch line and the outline. Like this, and then you can add some value like this, 160 maybe, and then it will be more like sticking out like that, if that's the look that you would like to see. But I think as general it's not really necessary, so I would just not use it. But I just wanted to show you that also with internal lines you can control a little bit the shape and even increase, you know, the look of it. Okay, so this is basically the main part. So only what you need to do is adjust physical properties, adjust particle distance, and add pressure. So that's pretty much it. You don't even have to add some crazy amount of internal lines. And then here I will just do some other steps. For example, here, because I did layer clone over, I have stitched like this around the perimeter, but it's not really good for this type of detail. So I deleted the sewing, and I will redo the sewing of the sides, and make sure you change sewing line type to turned. And then here, this end, you need to sew exactly where this end is. So I have this binding part here, and I can see that this part is sewn right here. So I will sew also the top layers end to the binding like this, and you will see magic will happen. Whoop. And it kind of sucks the end in, and that looks really beautiful. And just so that I don't have this like extra line here, I usually delete the normal map, so it's kind of clean look like this. And then on the other side you do the same, so you can check where this sewing is first and then create the sewing right here as well. Perfect. And delete normal map. Well, that depends on, of course, on your preference. Okay, now let's add top stitch, because there are these stitches here, so of course we should be able to see some top stitch as well. And I will add top stitch right here on those internal lines, and then put offset on 0. And as you can see, this is a very common issue that we have when we put top stitches right on top of internal lines. But there are some easy fix. So you just need to add like a very tiny offset, either 0.2 or sometimes maybe 0.3, depends how thick your top stitch should be. So for example, if you want a very visible one, perhaps 0.3 is much better, because 0.2 can still give you that breaks, as you can see here. So I will put 0.3, and it's just 0.3 millimeters, so it's not really a big difference. But of course, if you're very specific about this distance here, then you need to be mindful about this as well. And then sometimes, even though you do it, the stitch still might look broken, so then you can try to flip the placement. For example, here you can see the stitch is not really smooth and nice, and once I do the flip, it goes back to being very smooth. So sometimes the top stitch is just placed on the other side, so you have to flip it. And then Z offset, I usually put it on 0 so it doesn't float in the air. Okay, it looks pretty good, so I will put the color of the stitch like this. And I will also do this for this side piece here. The process is totally the same, just in this case I have this binding here, so I need to exclude this part, otherwise too many layer. Well, I will make this part faster because it's not really relevant for this video. Okay, so I finished the prep. Here what is funny that in this case, oh, where is it? Over. Okay, so in this case, actually sewing this part to the binding didn't really work because this binding is folded. So I think it's a little bit more complex. So I will try to delete this sewing where the top part of the binding is attached to the top part of this, and this I still kept because this is inside, and then this is sewn together, and then I will sew this to here so that there's no hole, and then let's see what happens. Okay, now it looks better. So yeah, maybe it's a little bit confusing with this kind of binding, but anyway, just in case, I wanted to show you. And here completely the same process, changing the fabric, adding pressure, top layer 40, bottom layer -40, changing particle distance to 2, and then top layer, if you want, change it to 1, and change mesh type to quads. And simulate, and it has puffed up. Really looks like there's something inside, right? Okay, now I will add the top stitch. Here I think it, because of the shadow of the normal map, it actually looks like it's very on the side of the stitch. So in this case, if that's really bothering you, you can flip it. And now it looks like it's in the correct position. Okay, and now I will just make the usual process, which is the easier, just adding another layer on top. Maybe often you would also increase the additional thickness, for example 1.5, so that there's some puffing up happening, but not really, it's just a little bit. And then here I think also, if you don't want to use pressure, you can also use additional thickness collision, and if you reduce particle distance size, then the garment will be able, the fabric will be able to bend. So you can also get some small bend here as well with just using additional thickness collision, but I think with pressure it's a bit easier and you can get like a higher result. And then the bottom piece, when you use pressure, the bottom piece is not pushing away from the body, but if you use additional thickness collision, the pattern piece is trying to create that buffer amount around itself, so it also pushes away from the avatar and other pattern pieces. So yeah, okay, I will add this, just this top stitch. Okay, and we're finished. And you can see the difference is really significant, and this really looks like real life tunnel. That's something's inside in that. But let me tell you one additional thing. When it comes to rendering, it's not always worth it to do this type of detail, because in rendering it might not be even visible, and it is because of the light. So if I start rendering, this is low contrast basic light, and as you can see, you can't see any dimension here, so they basically look the same, right? Even though here there's a lot of bend like that, and this is totally flat, you know. So that's the beauty of rendering as well. So you really have to think about the light and everything as well if you want to see these fine details. And I recommend these fine details if you use some 3D viewers where you can't have the normal maps of the seams, or you want to do close-up renders with some nice shadows, like a very kind of intricate details, if you really want to make hyper-realistic garments, I really recommend this detail. But if you do full-size renders, it's not going to be visible, of course. You can't see any difference. But let's change to different light. For example, let's have this one. Maybe a really slight difference here. Yeah, this I think is the most visible with this type of light. Here you can really feel that there's something inside. Yeah. And then my favorite light, light number 5. Yeah, as you can see, it's not really so easy to find light angle that would really show that there's big difference between, you know, this flat version and this bumpy one. So yeah. So yeah, of course you should be mindful about the application of this. I definitely don't recommend overkilling your 3D garments. If this kind of detail is not going to be visible, then there's no point of putting time and effort into making that. But in general, for close-ups, for 3D viewers, I think it's a really good detail to have. So I definitely recommend in that case. Okay, so that's really it for the video. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Bye!